Nobody tells you this when you're growing up. The average person spends 3 to 5 hours every single day thinking about something that already happened, something they cannot change, something that is completely finished. 3 to 5 hours. That is more time than most people spend on their job, more time than they spend with their family, more time than they spend on anything that is actually building their future. And the worst part is, they do not even realize they are doing it. Today, we are going to talk about where those hours are going, and more importantly, how to get them back. So let us talk. The first thing you need to understand is this: the past cannot hurt you anymore. It is done. It is finished. The only thing that is actually hurting you right now is the story you keep telling yourself about what happened. That story, that is the real problem. Here's a simple way to think about it. Imagine you cut your hand 2 years ago. The cut healed, but every single morning you wake up and you press on that exact spot as hard as you can, and then you wonder why your hand still hurts. That is what we do with emotional pain. The event is over, but we keep pressing on it. We keep replaying it. We keep asking why. We keep checking to see if it still hurts. And of course it does, because we never actually let it heal. So step 1 is simple. Stop pressing on the wound. That doesn't mean pretend nothing happened. That doesn't mean fake a smile and tell everyone you are fine when you are not. It just means stop feeding the pain with your daily attention. Every time your mind goes back to that old memory, gently say to yourself, that chapter is closed, and bring your attention back to right now. It sounds too simple, but try it seriously for 1 week and watch what happens. Now here's something that might be a little uncomfortable to hear. Some of us are actually scared to move on. And I don't mean scared in an obvious way. I mean scared in a quiet, sneaky way that we don't even notice. Because if we move on, we have to take responsibility for what comes next. If we are still hurt, still healing, still recovering, then we have a reason why our life has not moved forward yet. The past becomes an excuse, and excuses, as painful as they are, feel safe, because at least they explain things. But here's the truth. The past is a really expensive place to live. It costs you your present. It costs you your energy. It costs you opportunities you don't even see because you're too busy looking backwards. You cannot drive forward while staring in the rearview mirror. At some point, you have to turn around and look at the road in front of you. Let me tell you about a guy. His name is not important. What matters is his situation. This guy lost his job, lost his relationship, both in the same year. And for about 18 months after that, he was completely stuck. Not because he was lazy, not because he wasn't smart enough to figure things out, but because every single morning he woke up and the first thing his brain did was remind him of everything he had lost. And he would spend the first hour of his day just sitting in that feeling, sad, angry, confused, asking why over and over again. One day a friend asked him a really simple question, not a deep philosophical question, just a simple one. What would you do tomorrow if you completely stopped believing that your best days were behind you? That question hit him like cold water in the face, because he realized he had been so focused on what was behind him that he had completely stopped thinking about what was possible in front of him. He hadn't made a single plan, not one goal, not one step forward. He was just waiting. For what, he didn't even know. That question changed everything, not because life suddenly got easy, but because he finally turned around and started looking at the road ahead. So I am asking you the same question right now. What would you do tomorrow if you completely stopped believing that your best days are behind you? Think about that. Really think about it. Because your answer is your next step. Now, let's talk about confidence. Because a lot of people say, I will start when I feel more confident. I will try when I feel ready. I will go for it when I feel strong enough. And I understand that feeling completely. But here's the problem with that plan. Confidence does not come before action. Confidence comes from action. You don't think your way into feeling confident. You act your way into it. Start with something tiny, so small it almost feels silly. Wake up at the time you said you would wake up. Drink a glass of water before you look at your phone. Take a 10-minute walk. Write down 3 things you want from your life. Finish one small task you've been avoiding for days. These things feel minor, but your brain is watching. Every small win is a little piece of evidence that you are someone who does what they say they will do. And slowly that evidence builds into something real, something solid, something that does not disappear when life gets hard.
You build confidence the same way you build a wall, one brick at a time, slowly, consistently, even when nobody is watching. Here is another thing worth thinking about. The people in your life matter more than you realize. Not in a dramatic way, not in a cut everyone off and start fresh kind of way, just in an honest, pay attention kind of way. Some people in your life are pulling you forward. They challenge you. They believe in you. They celebrate when you grow. Being around them makes you want to be better. And some people, without even meaning to, keep you connected to an older, smaller version of yourself. They are comfortable with you staying exactly where you are. Sometimes because they care about you, and change feels scary to them too. Sometimes because your growth makes them look at their own life, and they do not like what they see. Neither group is necessarily bad, but you need to know which is which. Protect your energy like it is valuable, because it is. Every hour you spend in conversations that drain you, every day you spend in situations that pull you back, that is time and energy you are not spending on building the life you actually want. You only get one shot at today. Spend it wisely. Now, let's talk about what actually moving forward looks like. Because a lot of people think moving on is a feeling. Like one day you just wake up and feel free and light and completely over everything. And you wait for that feeling to arrive before you start living again. But moving on is not a feeling. It's a decision. And then it's a daily practice. It looks like this. You feel the pull to check that old profile and you choose not to. That is moving on. You feel the urge to replay that conversation for the 100th time and you redirect your attention to something that actually matters. That is moving on. You have a bad day, and instead of using it as proof that nothing will ever get better, you just call it a bad day and go to sleep and try again tomorrow. That is moving on. Small decisions, made consistently, over time. That is how people actually change. Let me tell you about someone else. A woman who spent 3 years in a job that was slowly making her miserable. She stayed because it felt safe, because leaving felt scary, because what if the next thing was worse? What if she failed? What if people judged her for walking away from something stable? So she stayed. And every day she stayed, a little more of her confidence disappeared. A little more of her joy disappeared. Until one day she looked in the mirror and realized she did not recognize the person looking back at her anymore. She left the job. It was terrifying. The first few months were genuinely hard. But here's what she told a friend about a year later. She said the scariest step was the first one. After that, I got easier. Not easy, easier. And now I cannot believe I waited so long. The scariest step is always the first one. After that, it gets easier. Not easy, easier. So here's where we land today. You do not need to have everything figured out. You do not need to feel completely healed before you start. You do not need permission from anyone. You do not need to wait for the right moment, because the right moment is not coming to find you. You have to go find it. Take one step today, just one. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be forward. Because every single step you take away from the past is a step towards something better. And you deserve something better, not someday, now. Your story is not over. It's actually just getting to the good part. And the next chapter starts with a decision you make today. If this video spoke to you today, leave a comment below. Tell us one step you are going to take this week. Just one. Write it down and then go do it. And if you want more content like this, honest and simple and actually useful, hit subscribe. We've got more coming and we think you're going to need it. We'll see you in the next one. Keep going.